Kenya was definitely one of the best experiences of my life. That sounds really cliche, but it was. We had an opportunity to do things and see things that most of us have never seen before.
I knew coming into it that it was going to be super scary, and it was really scary in the beginning. And quickly I learned that it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be.
I've been dreaming about coming here and like going on safari since I was a kid, and everyone was just really friendly. And that kind of caught me off guard because they had no reason to like me or, you know, want to hang out with me, but they did. And so I made a lot of really good friends.
I didn't know anything about Kenya or East Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa at all. This was just an area of the world that I can, you know, say truthfully that, you know, I knew nothing about.
When I got here, I was just so surprised because the little things, it was the little things that just made me smile, you know, being here in a country where, you know, the majority of the people here are Black. Here in Kenya, to actually see people like you on billboards, on TVs, in professions, I was like, what?
This is the road you have to master. Although there is a building there that people refer to it as audio cinema.
The country's been incredibly welcoming. The whole team, Wagi, Francis, everyone that I've worked with has been super welcoming in terms of explaining like the reality of Kenya's situation and like how you can acclimate yourself.
So the natural landscape of Kenya is absolutely beautiful. That was one thing that really floored me when we were first on our way to orientation. Most of the time on car rides, I tend to just like go straight to sleep. But we were all like staring out the window, and like oohs and ahs were coming from everyone as we just saw like the Great Rift Valley and mountains everywhere and huge rolling plains.
First impression of Kenya was it's an up-and-coming city. Nairobi specifically is an up-and-coming city. It looks chaotic with all the construction that's going on right now, but that I think speaks to the progress of what's happening here.
When you talk about Kenya, the first thing that comes into their head is safari or wildlife, nothing in terms of like urban infrastructure at all. So it's really interesting to see a huge developed city here in East Africa.
Trust me, as soon as you get into the game, you won't even notice.
Okay. Respect. 3. Like when you're 40. I put a 3 on level 2.
Since the public health program doesn't necessarily have formal Kenya education, like political or cultural or things like that, I really, you know, put it upon myself to like ask them questions and to talk to them and learn from them.
But they have very many talented children, very many talented people, young men and women there. But sometimes their talents go to waste because of the poverty that there is.
So myself, I'm actually a veterinarian. Straight, yeah.
I think in Kenya, one thing that's been really nice is the experiential learning component. But being able to take the knowledge that we did learn in the classroom and then apply it in the real world in our internships was phenomenal.
I don't think the writer necessarily could be considered racist, but I think adding the racial undertone of having the white man sick and the Black man taking care of him maybe could add to like the sympathy for the Black character that's taking care of the white character. But I don't necessarily think it's the racism of the writer necessarily, but as much as adding to the resentment towards the other Jay.
I think a lot of programs offer the opportunity for you to escape from where you already are, which this program does allow you to escape. You're not in your everyday, but you're not just escaping, you're actually entering into another world that you didn't know existed before, or you're seeing different parts of the world that are opening up to you in a new way.
The best way to improve someone's quality of life, socioeconomic status is to start with their health, because without health, we have nothing. We partnered with another students' organization called SAVO, and they build sanitation blocks, which are pit latrines that are used by different neighborhoods. But the people that were using the pit latrines had no way to prevent self-contamination. And so we came up with the idea of, well, a hand sanitizer is a way that you don't need to use water and can still get your hands clean and get rid of germs like cholera.
So I interned at Facing the Future, FAFU, in Mashimoni area of Kibera. The school serves nearly 300 students with educational, nutritional, and health services. And I worked as a peer mentor for the older middle school students. So I want you to write down your answers to these questions, okay? These kids are coming from the toughest backgrounds, have little to own at home, and yet they are extremely resilient, always have smiles on their faces, always having a good time, playing, just like children anywhere else. And so I learned a lot about resilience while working with those students.
Zimo is very, very beautiful. It kind of reminds me of the countryside in Jamaica sometimes. My family ran a duka. Duka is a small shop, and they obviously had customers like coming in and out, but they still took the time out to like teach me stuff in Luo, to help them, you know, to take me out, to pick up supplies. So they were very, very nice.
Well, yeah, he said.
I think that Americans could learn a lot from Kenyans. I think that the sense of community here is much greater than in the US. People severely underestimate how they forget about the little day-to-day things. We kind of only remember like the big, epic moments, but we forget about, all the times in between, which can be just as significant.
It was great to be a part of that community. People would just walk by and come in and sit down and talk and then leave, and it was just a very just interesting to see that kind of dynamic of just everyone intermingling and talking about nothing but still enjoying each other's company. It was wonderful.
So I'm kind of dreading my conversations with my family just because I don't really know how to sum up this experience. I was given a chance to see a part of the world that I knew very little about, and it also kind of shaped what I want to do with my life. I think I'm just a bit more self-aware now. I've kind of figured myself out a little bit more. I'm still a mess, but yeah.
I've had plenty of other friends that kind of do a backpacking through Europe trip over the summer. I don't know that they're really engaging with any of it, which I think is what was really impactful here.
One of the coolest things I'm going to get to take home is a whole handful of really great new relationships. I think that like those relationships are something that I'm going to remember, and they're going to stick with me for a really long time.
Embrace what's around you, and if you live in that moment and just focus on what's going on then, it'll be completely transformative.
A lot of the world, and the majority of the world, does not live like America. It doesn't look like it, or think like it, or anything like that. And I think that, you know, if you really want to see the world, you need to come to a place like Nairobi.
Next question, do you like to hang out with
You plan on coming back?
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about that.